will move into the stalls. This race, the Parramatta Leagues Club handicap, is a Class 3 over 1,200. Starter's got them in position. Racing. Gold Sultan now, Woody drifting back. Rustic Sky began well. God's Hand was showing a little bit of speed, but now easing back. And Sovereign General and Ten of Hearts is going to attack for the lead today. They're going to ride in for speed. Ten of Hearts in front near the 600 by a length and a quarter. Sun Yatsen is second, and over on the rail is Rustic Sky third. Sovereign General is fourth, followed by Follows Me out 3 wide from Prince Billy. Then God's Hand giving the leaders about 6 or 7, starting to improve in the centre now. He's hooking it to the outside, and further back behind it was Cinemic, but Ten of Hearts leads up for home by 2 lengths. Sun Yatsen is chasing it in second spot, but making no impression on this lead at the moment. And then Rustic Sky, Prince Billy, and God's Hand is coming with a big run down the centre of the track. Ten of Hearts in front. God's Hand with every stride is going after it. Ten of Hearts is still in front with 75 to go. God's Hand looms up on the outside, finishes the better, and God's Hand beat Ten of Hearts. It's a photo for third. Our Woody on the outside, and Sun Yatsen look to be the two most prominent. And then we've got Prince Billy and Gold Sultan, followed by Rustic Sky, and then Sovereign General, followed by Speedy Duke. Cinemic was well back.
And he's well bred by Galileo out of Blessed Be the Half to Saintly. Another winner on the day for Bart Cummings.
Another God's Hand, Triangle and Bart Cummings, a double, 6:31.90, 160, Ten of Hearts.
3 Swallows and God's Hand, the two beautifully bred 4-year-olds they are now. And at the moment, well, now, number 8 is God's Hand. This 4-year-old stallion by Galileo's out of Blessed Be. She's a half-sister to Saintly, bred by Bart Cummings, as was Moonbow to finish second at Caulfield, watching it on the big screen through his binoculars there. Both these horses bred by him. This is a nice little fella. He's got a lot of sort of strength about him, God's Hand, and rattled home in that first up run behind Ferocious.
That's the worry, Caroline, that he's drawn the outside barrier here, and whether he's going to give away too much start. He's going up to 1,400 metres.
Indeed, God's Hand now $3.40 into $3.20. As we said, Bellagio in now into $10.
Now, and coming out awkwardly, Wesley Manor. It's gone straight back to last of all. Subtle Glance was out of the stalls well, and so too was Zubac up, racing it for the lead in the early stages, and Zubac wants the front and goes to the lead now from Subtle. Faster tracking the leaders, followed by Bellagio win on the outside of Wesley Manor. God's Hand is starting a run 3 wide, but he's got nothing to bring him into the race. He's coming up now, and then came Gold Member, and last of all is Victory Seen. Zubac is now flat to the boards and pitched a break coming around the turn. Zubac by 2 on Subtle Glance and 3 Swallows, and then Smart and Fast. God's Hand's got up to 5th on the outside, followed by Bellagio Win, and no use going back any further. Zubac in front at the 300 from Subtle Glance. 3 Swallows coming, and so too is God's Hand on the outside. Zubac is still defying them. 200 to go. 3 Swallows and God's Hand are starting to round them up now. God's Hand and 3 Swallows race to Zubac, and God's Hand on the outside has hit the front and won it. God's Hand's got up in the last bound to win it from either Zubac or 3 Swallows. And then came Subtle Glance, followed by Smart.
Second last start.
Yeah, good performance, God's Hand. No excuse to the Beaten Brigade. They had a picnic up in front. A lot of horses got
to scale God's Hand after winning here. Only his second race, but he's done it in dominant fashion. So he's a horse to look forward to. You'd hope a big spring. You'd certainly hope the Cummings stable is thinking that way. Ahead by half hair.
Just waiting for the maestro Bart Cummings to come through. He's just making his way through. Johnny Thompson's.
Runners are in the yard here for the first race on Australia Day, and LeBron the number 1 with the Australian flag saddlecloth here ahead of this race over 1,600 metres. Favourite down the bottom, just a small field of 5, is God's Hand, and he's $1.95. 5 is God's Hand. He's $1.95, still on course. He's a 4-year-old Entire by Galileo out of Blessed Be. She's a half to the Melbourne Cup winner, Saintly. He's the smallest horse in the field, but he's beautifully put together. He's very strong. He looks great in the coat, and he's got a nice weight drop after that good win from the rear of the field at Rose Hill.
He just set to start the
small field. God's Hand, the little horse, the short prize favourite in front of Buzzy Henry, who just starter caught the field of 5 in one line, with Buzzy Henry first to anticipate the start and go straight to the early lead. Nuclear Sky began quickly. God's Hand in the small fields posted out 3 deep, going up third from Kin Charm and the 850 and led him 3/4. God's Hand's had a fantastic run behind those 2 lengths away, and yet to come away from the fence to come out and start to go after the 2 leaders is Nicolik. 2 lengths away, LeBron, as Nuclear Sky goes up and worries the daylights out of Buzzy Henry, and Kin Charm last as they wheel at the 600. Well, Buzzy Henry's been attacked left, right and centre by Nuclear Sky as they turn, and running up into 3rd spot and about to peel God's Hand. LeBron comes around him, and 4 lengths Kin Charm. They flatten at the 400 metres mark. Buzzy Henry, Nuclear Sky being set upon by God's Hand. A length away, LeBron, Kin Charm 3 back. Buzzy Henry Henry trying to fight off God's Hand, who puts the head in front. Battling away Nuclear Sky. Then came LeBron. It's God's Hand taking the lead. Favourite looking sweet at the 100 pole. Raced away by a length and a half to 2 lengths on a gallant Buzzy Henry. But God's Hand had the perfect run and he goes on to victory. Wins it by 2 1/4 lengths to a very gallant Buzzy Henry. Ken Charm got home for third. Nuclear Sky took Buzzy Henry on. He finished well back with LeBron.
You could see how confident Dan Nicklick was on God's Hand. Halfway up the straight, he was still pushing him out hands and heels, and then he went, there are the interim dividends up for you. 35.73, that final sectional.
Off they go now, and one of the first out, Western Coup. Just Look began quite well. He's right up there second from Kin Charm Art Success, Tura. 2 lengths away then Scenic Shot as they sort out their order pretty quickly here. They're followed by Down Under Boy and then Courtney, God's Hand and Rumbird last on the inside. Boy and last of all God's Hand below the 800 metres here. And it's a Kin Charm rolling along with a pretty good lead. Kin Charm for Dean Holland out by 5 lengths. Just Look has to cart the field up. Tura. They're followed Western Coup making a move and Scenic Shot gets his back to work home. Down Under Boy goes with Scenic Shot and they're followed by God's Hand coming around the outside from Courtney Art Success and Rumbird. Kin Charm coming back a length and a half. Just Look, Western Coup. Down Under Boy coming on. Scenic Shot comes with him. They sweep wide and then God's Hand. Kin Charm tackled by Western Coup. Scenic Shot just got a little bump from Down Under Boy. Just Look got through to tackle them at the 200. There's about 4 or 5 across the track. God's Hand with the last rush at them. Just Look in front of Scenic Shot and God's Hand. God's Hand coming at Just Look. Scenic Shot in the middle. God's Hand and Scenic Shot with they hit the line. Oh, I think maybe God's Hand on the outside and a 3-way photo finish from either Just Look and Scenic Shot. The 3-way go, a terrific finish to it. In behind them, Success.
Is it his day of the day? Michelle Payne, can she get the best out of God's Hand? It will. God's Hand will get the photo here. God's Hand finally breaks through. Been racing well for Michelle, but hasn't been winning. Does so today. And
A little later, dividends on screen, 650 for the winner.
Name was Rumbird. Success.
Is it his day of the day? Michelle Payne, can she get the best out of God's Hand? It will. God's Hand will get the photo here. God's Hand finally breaks through. Been racing well for Michelle, but hasn't been winning. Does so today. And
A little later, dividends on screen, 650 for the winner at $1.80. Michelle Payne, the winning rider. 1